Hi, and welcome back to Deb's Dialogue. I haven't posted in a while because the next video really should be about my operation, and in all honesty I have been stalling big time in talking about it because it wasn't a very pleasant experience, shall we say. So I'm going to attempt to talk about it now, and we'll see what happens. In the weeks running up to my operation, I had someone come over who was supposed to help me, and although that person tried, they failed big time and ended up causing me a lot more stress, shall we say. And I was already stressed enough as it was, as you can imagine, and things were not going very well with some people around me. A lot of arguments, a lot of disagreements. All I can think is that it was down to a lot of stress on both parties involved, really. So, Christmas Day was before my operation. I have to say, the whole of December was actually a big blur of stress, sleepless nights, followed by snatched naps during the day when my kids are at school, trying to catch up on tiredness. And then every so often my body would just cave in and I would just have to go to sleep early. A massive blur. I wish I could remember some nice points. There's the odd one, but nothing major, I would say. Yeah, there was the odd good moment, but in a month, December, 31 days, and I can only remember the odd good moment. It's not very good. I can remember stress. I can remember arguments. I can remember a lot of tears. A lot of pressure on me. Pressure about what? Pressure to do with my relationship, and it was pressure actually that I didn't need at that point in time and wasn't actually necessary at all. And then Christmas Day, I don't remember anything good about Christmas Day at all. I remember waking up, having a lot of arguments Christmas morning, and eventually just getting so tired that I ended up sleeping for the rest of the day, I think. And that made me feel guilty, which then that was me putting myself under pressure then. I felt guilty because then I was thinking, if anything happens to me during my operation, I actually haven't had a last good Christmas with my kids at all. And that just made me feel even more upset. And of course, the whole time, throughout the whole of December, I was sitting there thinking, this lump is still in me. The longer it's in me, the bigger it's going to get. The bigger it's going to get, there's more chance of it spreading. The more chance of it spreading, then the more chance there is of it not being able to be cured or removed or even treated. And so, I guess I was making mountains out of molehills, but still, I think under the circumstances, it's completely understandable. So my operation was the 27th of December. I remember the night before my operation, that was just a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. I had people wanting to spend time with me, which was nice. But on the other hand, I got a message from one of my friends, and it really made me think. And she said to me, "What is it that you want to do on your last night before your operation?" And by that point, I was such a mess that I couldn't answer the question. I didn't know. I didn't know how I wanted to spend this night before my operation. I kept telling myself as well that this was a bad sign for my relationship, because if it had been going well, then really I should have been thinking that I would wanted to spend my last night, with the person I was in a relationship with. But I wasn't really thinking that at all. All I could think was that I should be with him, not that I wanted to be with him. And there was a big difference there, because we had been through so much that by the time the operation came, I didn't feel like I wanted to be with him. And that is me being honest. So anyway, I woke up the morning of the operation and had a time limit where I could eat my food by, and drink my coffee and my water and everything, and put the cream and everything on my nipple and the plaster bit over it. And then had to be in the hospital by 11 o'clock in the morning. And then we got there and they called me through, and I had to go and sit in the ward and wait for them to call me through for my operation. And I was actually in there waiting for, about 7 hours? Before they did the operation. And in that 7 hours I wasn't allowed to eat, I wasn't allowed to drink. It was very lonely. I had trouble getting an internet signal on my phone, and I had no signal to text people. And then at about, I think it was about 1 o'clock or something, they called me through, and I had to go and have this injection put in my nipple. The whole thing was incredibly scary, because there was no one there with me. It was terrifying, actually, absolutely terrifying. And then after that, I waited for the consultant to come and see me, and he came onto the ward at about, I think it was about 3 o'clock. And he sat down with me, and he was saying, right, we're going to be doing this, and how are you feeling, and everything like this. And then he said to me, "Is there anything that you want to say?" And I said to him, "Yes, actually, there really is." And I said, "I don't care how stupid this sounds, I've got to say it to you." And he went, "Okay." And I looked at him and I just said, "Get this shit out of me." I said, "I don't care if you end up having to take off both boobs. Actually, I don't care what you have to do. Just make sure that at the end of the operation you have got all of this shit out of me, because I do not want to leave. If you have left even the smallest bit in me, I want it gone. And I don't care what you have to do." And he looked at me and he was like, "Right, okay. He was very good. He was a lovely consultant, actually. He was really, really nice. Really nice. And so that was good. I said my bit, It was just like, just get this crap fucking out of me. And I'm sorry about my language, but that was the way I was feeling at the time. And then because the consultant was running a bit behind on his operations and everything, I was very kindly allowed out of the ward to go and have a smoke. And I went out of the ward, and the person who was supposed to be sitting there waiting for me wasn't, and they had my smokes. So then I had to run around and grab someone and desperately say, please, have you got a smoke I can have, please? So they did. I managed to get hold of my mum to let her know that, you know, I was okay and what was happening and stuff like that. Had a bit of trouble getting hold of the person that I was with. Not quite sure why. And so I felt lost. I felt lonely, incredibly lonely. Yeah, it was the whole thing was just horrible. And then about 5:30, I think it was, the nurse came onto the ward, and she said, right, time to go. Oh my God. I think I pretty much wet myself. I was so nervous. And we walked into the operating room, and the nurses asked me what I did for a living, got me talking about gardening. I was happy as Larry then, you know, get me talking about gardening, off we go. It was fun. And I had a little bit of a cry, and then the nurse gave me a nudge. And she was like, oi, kind of, you know, I don't want to see that kind of thing, you know. So I sort of cheered up, and then we got back onto gardening again, so it was all good. And then last time I looked at the clock, it was 6:30. When I came round at 7:30, I specifically remember the first thing I said, did you get it all out? And they nodded yes. Yes. And I cried with relief. Most amazing feeling ever. And on that point, now that I've started talking about it, I feel that I can carry on. So the next video will be about what happened after my operation. Until next time.